Daytona. Everybody ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on the stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Oh, bring it back. Oh,
Hello everybody and welcome to Newton, Iowa for what is going to be a great race, race 8 of 18 here at Iowa Speedway. It's the Hyvee Perks 250 and I am here alongside none other than live and in the booth for the first time. We have Tommy McIntyre right next to me. Tommy, how are you feeling tonight?
It is an absolute privilege to be this close to somebody this sexy. I cannot believe that this is actually taking place.
Well, I think we're going to have to put up a glass divider if this race gets a little bit action heavy, because we're going to be having a lot of action here in this booth. It's sure to be a fun one. It is round number 3 of the in-season tournament, and this in-season tournament has provided nothing but spectacle. Garrett Lamar, for the second week in a row, what seems like too little too late last week at Auto Club, led for a lot of it but lost a lead after his car fell off the jack in the penultimate pit stop. Also in the penultimate pit stop, Zachary Ponce spins Logan Williams for no reason at all. Williams was pissed in the post-race presser in a photo finish for Justin Haley to get his first career win. Tommy, that was an action-packed race there at Auto Club, and we saw our field of 32 in the in-season tournament narrowed down to 16.
Yeah, as you said, obviously going from 32 to 16, it's a big cut right there. And once again now, this 16 will become our final 8 after that. There's a lot of talented drivers still cutting it around. Obviously, like we've got the likes of Christopher Marnell, obviously, and Justin Haley, last week's winner. So there's plenty of talent still in the field as of right now. But it'll be interesting to see just how these matchups line up.
Absolutely. It's going to be a short one here. The Iowa Speedway promoters said we want a sprint race, 70 laps, the feature length for today. Tommy, let's get into it a little bit more about this wonderful short track.
Yeah, obviously they must be broke as shit out in Iowa that they can only afford their track staff for a short amount of time. So we got a nice little short and sweet race as a result. But there's some new pavement, so they have been putting their money somewhere at least. So that should provide a nice racy track surface. And the fuel run is 30 laps or so. But tires may be the deciding factor.
Absolutely. We saw earlier in practice, we saw a lot of different strategies. People came in and took a lot of tires during practice, but some people were able to go that full 30 laps with a little bit of fall off. So we may see some split strategy here today, especially with the field of 16 in season tournament guys. They're going to be looking for any advantage possible, especially with a lot of those Cinderella stories that we have going on. Let's hop into our starting lineup here. On the pole, Joe Kraus, his first career pole alongside Logan Williams. Garrett Lamar, Quentin Haley in row 2, an inverted number sort of situation there. Aaron Giffen and Cam Arrow in row 3. Row 4 sees Ryan Barone and Strokey Banger. Row number 5 is going to feature Squarius Greenhouse Jr. and Ethan Harrison, who's had a pretty good qualifying run as of recent. Ian McDaniel, Santiago Nicholas in row 6, 2 of our tournament contenders. Henry Guo and Zachary Ponce in row 7. Ponce better be on the lookout for Guo, who might be looking for vengeance for his teammate. Green and Haley in row 8. Row 9, Sigafus and Michael Guthrie. Guthrie won the last in-season tournament short track race at Bristol. Kaz Gralla, Christopher Marnell in row 10. Matthew Fastnot, Chase Gibbons in row number 11. Row 12 sees Nathan Stapleton and Brayson Collins. Row number 13 is going to move forwards. Reed Simpson, Chris Lilly, the two co-owners of Toyota Gazoo Racing, as the field's going to roll forwards. Jeremy Mead, Anthony Foss in row 14. Row 15, Robbie Gordoff and Jerry Chen. Gordoff with starting a little bit towards the rear, abnormal for him. Kyle Maybe, Aris Yuko in row 16. Row 17, Riley Gorse and Ricardo Garcia. Row 18 is going to feature Blake Walker and Jordan Madron. And then row 19, we move forwards, Tyler Cook and Sean McKean. The field exits purgatory of the backstretch as the void almost consumed them, Christian Visconti and Richard Fridge in row 20. Rounding out the field, Stephen Colin and Alexander Rowe starting abnormally to the rear here, Tommy. That could be a key storyline here as he is facing off against a pretty good contender in this opening in-season tournament.
Right, for sure. But he's got 70 laps to try and make some magic happen, so we'll see what he can do.
70 laps on the cards. A little bit of a short one here at a short track. The world's fastest short track, they like to call it, as the 26 of Joe Kraus leads them into turn 1 with the 17 hot on his tails on the outside. Field exiting the corner as the void is creeping up on them once again. Garrett Lamar won our last short track race at North Wilkesboro. He's sitting there on the inside of row number 2 as the field side by side through through lap 1. We stay clean and green. It's the 17. Whoa, big problem for the 26. He dives down to the bottom.
That is not what you want to see for this 26 crew. Obviously felt something, whether it's a vibration or maybe a misfire, but obviously does not feel right in that car, immediately bringing it down pit road after just 2 laps.
Not what you want to see from the Aaron Giffen Motorsports, or the Aaron Giffen Racing sophomore driver, as Logan Williams now takes control of the lead with Quentin Haley right behind him. That really affected Garrett Lamar, who's fallen back to 5th or 6th place.
Yeah, that entire inside lane really got checked up there by Joe as he was slowing down to make it onto the apron. But credit to him, he did a good job in terms of getting himself down there as quickly as possible and not causing any further incidents in terms of collecting anyone in that problem. So yeah, we stay green here, so credit Joe for that one.
Hung up on the outside, Kaz Gralla bounces off the wall in front of Christopher Marnell as the 3 is going to sort his way back into line. There's the 16 of Zachary Ponce, found himself in a little bit of controversy last week. Logan Williams in his post-race and midweek presser as the 16 is bouncing off the wall. Logan Williams was not happy with that 16 car, and with a shred of karma, that 16 actually blew his motor due to damage from the radiator with 3 laps to go, just shortly after that incident. So a little bit of karma played out, and the 16 is slipping back. It seems to have lost a few spots here.
Yeah, just a bit of a kind of a inexperienced sort of mistake. Like, you know, a cooler or calmer head would have prevailed in a situation like that. Obviously, like, you're on pit road, you have nothing to gain from taking somebody out. Like, you're coming into your pit box, just put on the brakes and lose a couple of tenths of a second entering your pit box. It's not gonna dramatically change your race the way, like you said, a blow in the radiator, very bad kind of mechanical damage board. You know, it's one of those ones where like you do something stupid in the heat of the moment once, but fingers crossed he'll learn from this and he'll turn back a bit of a smarter head in future races. But like you say, obviously that's for personal level, but obviously that's not really going to help the guys over at DAF Racing, who also had their race pretty screwed by his actions. So yeah, they might still be looking for revenge, despite you say him getting some karma in race itself.
Absolutely. I mean, the karma is one thing, but we got a yellow. There's a crash on the backstretch entering turn 3. We've got cars sideways sliding through. It looks like that's Michael Guthrie, Sigafus. Looks like Blake Walker got a bit of incident, a bit of damage there as well. Big damage for the 88.
Yeah, it looks like there was some Tony Hawk renditions there into turn 3.
Let's take a look at this. It looks like Sigafus. It looks like Guthrie. Wow, big rookie mistake from the 51, who was really good at short tracks last year. Squeezes the 78 coming out of turn 2. That just sends the field scrambling. Let's take another look at this. As you saw the 78's point of view, it looks like the 88, some Tony Hawk rendition there. Let's take another look at it. Collins takes a nose off the bumper. The 66 kind of just piles the 88 into the wall, and Kaz Gralla and Blake Walker are kind of victim. Let's go on board with Blake Walker here.
Yeah, so he sees it developing in front of him, and then just it's tricky. Like he did have a lane to his outside there, but just not enough time to react. You're at such a high speed at that particular point in the track just before the braking zone into turn 3. So yeah, real unfortunate there for the 88.
So we're going to see Logan Williams. So we're going to see 3 people stay out. So already, like we talked about earlier, a little bit of a split strategy here. This is pit stops around lap 10. So it looks like we've got half and half of the field here, especially with Logan Williams, our leader, coming down. A lot of the guys back in the pack coming down, taking these fresh set of tires. What do you think of this, Tommy?
Well, definitely for the guys in the back, there's no real advantage to staying out, because you're just going to be the first guys that the guys who take fresh tires overtake. So if you are one of the guys towards the back, you've probably picked up some damage in that incident. Plus, like you say, there's no real advantage to staying out, so you might as well come down and get some fresh tires. With this being lap 10, as you said, and we've also got a few laps of caution here. If people can stretch it the full 30 laps on their tires, then maybe on their fuel, then maybe we will be able to see some of these guys who pitted just here make it to the end on just one more stop.
Mm-hmm. That could be intriguing, to say the least. So Quinton Haley is going to be our leader on the restart at around, this will be lap 13. The drivers that just pitted, they are going to be in 15th place. So going to be quite interesting to see if we stay green. If not, then who's to say what'll happen. But green flags back out. We're back underway. Quinton Haley, another Haley brother. Seems like the Haley brothers have been quite the face of the series here, as Joe Kraus is restarting on the inside lane at 26. Seems to have figured out that problem, but they are unfortunately one lap down.
Yeah, there's a bit of a deja vu to the start of the race, I suppose, with Joe Kraus on the inside, but unfortunately he's not fighting for the lead. He is fighting to get back onto the lead lap, which at the moment it looks like he has managed to do. So maybe if we can see another quick yellow for the 26 crew, they'll be praying for that, but just hopefully not at their own expense.
Cam Arrow right in front of his boss, Garrett Lamar. The 42 driver, he's a sophomore driver, raced for Kevin Harvick Inc. last year. There's his former boss, Aaron Giffen, right there, sitting in about 7th or 8th place. The 42 has kind of come into his own over the last few weeks, and we've seen a lot of these sophomore drivers racing with new teams, and even freshman drivers on the rookie side. They've been kind of coming into their own throughout this in-season tournament, kind of settling in, which has been really good to see, especially with these new faces and faces at new places.
Yeah, well, obviously, number 42 Chevrolets have a little bit of a history of having sort of younger drivers coming into them, obviously going back to the HRT days. So it obviously took those guys a little while to find their feet too. So and obviously they also have CRT affiliations too. So a lot of similarities for Camaro and the former Heat Racing team. So yeah, interesting to see sort of the parallels, not only in terms of the cars themselves and the respective situations, but also how it is actually working out for them within the season. We'll see if Garrett Lamar manages to get his team a win as HRT managed at, was it Gateway when they were?
I think it was also, it was the 42 at Gateway that did get the win.
James Short?
Yes, that would be right. Yeah. So honestly, really cool to see a lot of parallels. So if Cam Arrow is able to get the win in his sophomore season, that would be quite impressive to say the least. Here's the 48 of Matthew Fastnot here. They're kind of battling at the weeds. We've got the 37 of Alexander Rowe right in front, and then bouncing off the wall. There goes Ryan Barone spinning around, and the yellow does come out, and that's the yellow that Joe Kraus was looking for.
Yeah, right as we said it. So yeah, exactly. They're exactly what he wanted. So as you can see, still ahead of the 31 on track, so he would be able to wrap himself up to the back of the field.
Getting it done the hard way, just like Awesome Bill back in the day. Let's take a look at this replay. It looks like it seems to be Ian McDaniel who gave the 46 a bit of a shove after he bounced off the wall.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much Ian can do in that situation. The 46 got high and checked up on corner exit, and Ian obviously was in a better spot than he was to get on the gas. So, yeah, not really much Ian could have done. Maybe check up a little bit more himself, but he's got his teammate right behind him. So if Ian checks up, what's to say that the 16 doesn't just plow into him instead? So,
We did see the 16 didn't really lift last week.
This is very true, yeah. Christopher Marnell also getting a little bit of that on his on the right side of his door, so we'll see if there's any issues there for the 23. But I'd say he'd be pretty happy to see a Philadelphia Eagle sponsored car spinning out. So I think he'll whatever superficial damage he gets from that, it'll be more than worth it for his sake.
So it appears that we're going to see the rest of these guys come down pit road. Alexander Rowe has come down pit road as well for the second time. So a bit of a developing story that we'll see with this 37 car. But 4 tires and fuel for Garrett Lamar, and Quentin Haley is able to motor off in front. The 48 and Matthew Fastnaut takes 2 tires, beats everyone out. And it seems like the 23 was able to stay out. It seemed like their damage wasn't exactly too terrible. So they're going to stay out here, and this is going to be a restart on lap 23 of 70. Kind of zooming through this race, we're already a little bit of a third of the way, and Disquarius Greenhouse Jr. is going to lead us back to green on this lap 23 restart.
Yeah, I think this has ended up working out better for the guys who pitted on the first one, because they've still got relatively fresh tires after only a couple of laps on that stint, plus now they have the track position. So let's see how this goes for them.
Absolutely. Back underway. Here we go, creeping to this restart zone, and we're off. Disquarius Greenhouse Jr. leads them into turn number 1, Strokey Banger. Aaron Giffen follows suit. Carson Green in the 40 as well. That is a rookie driver for Lamar Race Shop, sitting there in 4th place. And we've already got what appears to be 2 different sort of pit strategies going on, maybe even 3 potentially. I don't think Disquarius Greenhouse Jr. has pitted at all. Here's a little in-season tournament battle. This is live on the track, happening right next to each other. Justin Haley and Christian Visconti, they're right in front of each other, so that is going to be intriguing. If they're able to stay close to each other, who's to say what fisticuffs might happen towards the end of the race?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always the option to just kind of, like you say, have a cooler head and wait and see how things develop later in the race. But if you want to be proactive and make sure you get yourself into the next round, maybe there could be some nefarious tactics that you could employ to make sure that you are the driver that gets through to the next round. So we'll see just how desperate some of these guys are to advance to the final 8.
Absolutely. So we'll take a look at this live in viewing things. So we mentioned Alexander Rowe. He came down pit road for a second time. Currently in 40th, facing off against, honestly, a pretty underranked Santiago Nicolas in terms of where we normally see him, honestly. 2-time Daytona 500 winner. Hasn't had the start of the season like he did last year in his rookie campaign. He came into the in-season tournament ranked 25th. Alexander Rowe obviously ranked 9th. I mean, if you're Rowe having kind of a rough day, this is a nightmare matchup for Alexander Rowe, especially at a short track where historically the 37 hasn't done the greatest at.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 83 Santiago Nicolas mightn't be the flashiest driver, but he, like you say, he always seems to be thereabouts, and he's a very consistent driver. So if you're not, as we see the 40 of Arasuko with a, 54 of Arasuko with a big lift there.
Good save.
And it looks like the 40 gets into the outside wall again there for the second straightaway, I guess. It's not really straightaway at the front stretch here at Iowa, is it? It's kind of like our sexuality.
True, yeah, a little bit curved, one might say, but the 40 of Carson Green showing a little bit of his rookie mistakes here. But as you were saying, yeah, Alexander, gets a shove from Richard Fridge, so the 40 is going to be dropping like a fly here, losing a lot of spots. Just riding the wall on the slightly curved front stretch there. Might have to get that one checked out, honestly. They're calling that a front stretch. But we stay green out front, again hitting the wall. My goodness.
4 out of the last 5 sets of corners he's hit the wall on exit. So there's definitely, I don't know if he's struggling with tires, if he's worn them out, or maybe it's if there's 6 now in 7.
Really, really funny. Like, get it? Because it's 6-7.
Speaking of this 6-7, how is Mr. Sean McKean doing in this race?
I feel like, let's see the field pass on by here. I believe I saw him mid-pack, so pretty solid showing from Sean McKean here on lap 31 now of 70. We'll see him right around, right there, honestly. There he is. He's on the left side picture-in-picture, so we'll look at this. other in-season tournament battle with Anthony Foss and Jeremy Mead. We're on board with Mead as he bounces off the wall in 26th, and showing Anthony Foss kind of fighting at the weeds here in the backpack of the field. So get this little picture-in-picture here, Tommy, with these two guys, as we have another in-season tournament battle right next to each other. Two teammates and two good friends sitting 24th and 23rd respectively. They're going to swap these positions, and this is pretty respectable racing here for this in-season tournament battle. I think if you're Reed Simpson or Chris Lilly, the team owner, or even Chase Gibbons, either of them are okay with someone advancing. But Chase Gibbons, 31 seed, could be a little bit of a Cinderella story, and he did really well at Bristol last year, which was able to propel yet another in-season tournament Cinderella story for him last year.
Yeah, he seems to be one of these kind of playoff performers where he, whatever mode he gets into at the in-season tournament, he just locks in. So, yeah, obviously it's a great trait to have. So you always know that you're going to have a nice little stretch there towards the mid part of the season, which is a big confidence booster if you can lock yourself into that kind of a mode. Very interesting to see the 4 and the 14 almost cannot be separated as for right now. Started the race side by side with each other, and as you saw there, 30 odd laps into the race, still side by side with each other. So that is definitely one of these ones that could go either way. Obviously equal in machinery, and they seem to be pretty equal to each other in terms of driving talent here this weekend in any case. So yeah, interesting to see where that goes, and like you say, it will be cool to see a 31 ranked driver make it to our final remaining 8.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've just noticed, but the 40 of Carson Green has slipped all the way to just about last place.
Yeah.
So Carson Green struggling with something here, and we saw a few quick cautions to open up today. We're on our longest green flag run of today, so not what he wanted to see. Definitely wanted another quick yellow.
Yeah, definitely would like to, even if there's not really anything they can do and they just have to grin and bear it, but you'd like to at least bring it down to pit road just so you can get the once over, because then at least your crew can tell you, look, it's okay, it mightn't be feeling the best handling wise, but it's all good. It's nothing nefarious or too nefarious, or that's gonna cause you to have to fly out of the race or anything like that. Speaking of flying out of the race, looks like the 62 wants a quick bath today, as he takes a big lick on the outside wall.
They were 3 wide for 11th place there, as Aaron Giffen falls out of that battle and loses it quite handily. Ian McDaniel seems to be the sole victor of it, as the 54 is sliding out of the group. Here goes Christopher Marnell, slowly but surely making his way through the field, making quite good use of that 62 kind of bouncing off the wall and holding up the 83 of Santiago Nicolas. Christopher Marnell started bouncing off the wall is Justin Haley, last week's race winner. Marnell facing up against Matthew Fastnot. Kind of 2 straight weeks where Marnell hasn't really faced someone that he feels like should be of a threat, I would say. Again, Haley bouncing off the walls. We've got a little gaggle for this first place spot now. But Fastnot did start near Marnell in today's race, and with how the strategy game has been being played, who knows? Who's to say? We could see the field flip itself on its head. But we're just past halfway, and we've got Disquarius Greenhouse Jr. now has quite a bit of company for this lead pack now.
Yeah, and you're saying obviously that obviously Marnell doesn't feel like he's kind of come up against maybe the strongest of what the in-season tournament has to offer driver-wise so far. But I mean, despite being reigning champion, leading points and having such good success both last year and also continuing it into this year, as we see the 62 goes for a spin down to the inside, and that'll bring out our 3rd caution of the day. That's what the 40 wanted to see.
Absolutely. But
yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that despite obviously the great success that he's had over the past a little while, he didn't win the in-season tournament last year, so all it takes is one bad race. So you could say, this person is on my level or not on my level, but all it takes is one race or one good performance from them, one bad performance from you, and it could completely ruin your in-season tournament. So that's the beauty of it, or the fragility of it if you're on the wrong side of it. As we see there for the 62 of Giffen, just got hooked.
Yeah.
Was able to slow it down a decent amount before he hit the inside wall, but still a fairly hard lick, and especially because he took it right to the front end as well. So could be some radiator damage, or at least definitely probably some aero damage for the 62. Be interesting to see if he if he has any handling problems after that. As we see a lot of the field coming down to the pit lane with this caution here. As you said, it was the longest green flag run of the race, so no real surprise that people are going to take advantage of this quick pit stop to get some fresh tires. I feel like this has worked out in favor of the guys who pitted earlier, because they got the quick pit stop in, kind of for the most part held track position, and now everyone's back essentially on the same strategy option with most of the field coming down this time. So feels like the guys that pitted there on lap 10 have played this one right as of right now, but still plenty of laps to go. Probably maybe still a pit stop, at least for some of these guys towards the front who didn't pit. There'll be at least one more stop, so we shall see how it goes.
Quentin Haley leads from Lamar, Marnell, and Cam Arrow. Jeremy Mead, your top 5. Brayson Collins with a little bit of a hook, as you say, to Aaron Giffen could be something to make note of. They're good friends off the track, so we shall see how that plays out. Definitely a bit of a damper on the 62's day, but Quentin Haley will now lead them back to the green. Not the first time that we've seen this 31 out front here on lap 45 of 70 here. Garrett Lamar hot on his tails, and his team owner and really good friend Christopher Marnell right behind him in third. Oh, right, sliding out of the turn 2. That was your former leader, Ethan Harrison, and he's going to succumb some positions here by the looks of it. That 77 really took a slide. Probably a case of he's been on the same tires for quite a bit of time. That was the first time he was on fresh tires. Did not expect how well his car was going to be able to launch out of the corner of turn 2.
Yeah, definitely. Also, just maybe a bit of aero wash as well. Maybe because he, like you say, he had been out front, so he had been dealing with clean air. But then maybe being up behind a car there on corner exit might have just given him a little more dirty air than he expected. So, yeah. Was he then the leader of the people who had pitted?
He was, yes, indeed. He was. Now he is not. We did see Alexander Rowe. As we were talking, he did bounce off the wall there a little bit. Justin Haley bounced off the wall earlier. He's sitting there on the bottom. We're 3 wide for around 13th place, 14th place. So this is kind of the lead pack of drivers that just pitted, led by Disquarius Greenhouse Jr. and a few others. We already see Cam Arrow is slipping back. I think Zachary Ponce didn't pit as well. And Robbie Gordoff, look at him, started in 30th. He's already made his way into this top 5 here.
Very impressive. But obviously this is kind of strategy dependent as of right now. But yeah, still good to see the 33 moving up through the field. He's made a bit of a habit of that when he has had bad qualifying runs. But thankfully for the most part, he's been starting towards the front, which is what we love to see. As we get a quick caution here, which could really help. Oh my good lord.
Big yellow.
I did not realize that the WWE Royal Rumble extended on to Sunday, because we only had it just there last night on Saturday. But looks like there was some wrestling moves coming out there on the backstretch.
Cam Arrow was having such a promising run, and he gets RKO'd into the wall by Richard Fridge, it appears like. Let's take a quick look at this. Let's hope all these drivers are okay. First off, it looks like the 42 ping-pongs down the back straightaway, hooks the 27 with help of the 77, and into the air he goes, with Blake Walker coming in hot and slams into the 42. Man, what a hard hit.
Yeah, it's Robert Wickens meets the OKO there with the catch fence. I think he got caught a pole on the catch fence and wrapped himself around it, and then obviously took the drivers with him. Yeah, really hard lick there for the 27. And hopefully he's okay there, because man, that was really nasty. And like you say, Cam Arrow landing on his roof there as well after the fact. So both these guys could be in serious trouble with that one. But prayers up to both of those guys.
Chase Gibbons gets involved there. Kaz Gralla, the 48, and Matthew Fastnot as well. A lot of other contenders getting involved in this incident. So we'll hear back from those guys, but hopefully Cam Arrow, the 27, all of them are okay. So we're going to see our leaders come down pit road, and quite a few more. Disquarius Greenhouse Jr. did come down pit road earlier. He's going to come down again. Looks like he might have scrubbed his tires. Looks like if you're on that outside lane for far too long, you feel a little bit of abnormal or obsessive wear on those guys, on those tires. So we'll see what the crack is there, as it looks like.
Oh, maybe. And the 68, is it?
The 69, it appears, of Anthony Foss. They get into it a little bit.
And so is the 14 as well. So there's obviously some tensions boiling over here. Short track racing, short track mindset. As there's some bumping and banging, not only on the racetrack and not only mostly with the walls rather than other drivers, but they're getting their fix in on pit road too. As it looks like the 26 of Joe Kraus was slow exiting the pits. He got past the pit exit line, but then Marnell overtook him beyond the yellow line there. So we'll see if the 26 retakes his position there, or if he maybe has a small little lingering issue from earlier on in the race.
So we're going to be restarting on lap 54 of 70 here. This last pit cycle has shaken up the field a little bit. We've seen Nathan Stapleton, Brayson Collins, Justin Haley out front. The 37 of Alexander Rowe did get some accident damage. He had to pit and will be a little bit slow. He is a lap down. As green flag is out, Nathan Stapleton leading his first laps of the season for Henry Guo Racing. Great to see that 71 car out in front after having such an up and down season so far. Really good morale to see the 71 out front here. And the 27 and 42 did exit the race. We are waiting to hear word from them from the care center. We'll hear back hopefully after the race.
Yeah, prayers up to both those guys. But look, if it does cause an end to their races for the coming up races, I hope that they come back with a quick recovery, because those were two really mean wrecks. Fridge would be a pretty awesome WWE name though, right?
He would
the
be.
Fridge.
Oh, I would have turned 4. The Fridge would have been
field.
awesome. There's the field getting turned. It looks like Chris Lilly and everybody's just stacking up there. Goodness gracious. That's kind of a bummer. Nathan Stapleton is going to lead them back to the yellow, and the field has all really just gotten shaken up here. We will have to look back. I think Sean McKean did catch the wall and kind of just shot sideways. We'll have to take a look at this, but we see a little bit of underdogs up front. Hopefully this pit cycle keeps them the same, but let's take a look at it. Oh, it looks like it's Alexander Rowe and Sean McKean, who was on the lead lap, just runs out of room, and man, that's a lot of guys.
Yeah. And, look, the 78 just Arca breaks into it there as well, right at the end. There was a decent number of the guys were actually able to check up relatively well, but yeah, towards the back there, we see here's the 84 of Strokey Banger. He gets a decent lift hit his front end as well, so a couple of guys coming out of this with some pretty significant damage, but that's an unfortunate one with the 47 just kind of sliding up into his lane there. I think he thought he was clear. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some guys that are going to be licking their wounds after this one, but despite, like you say, like pretty much the back half of the field being caught up in it, a decent number of guys managed to escape without too much damage.
Absolutely, which is great to see that everybody kind of stacked up there, but at the end of it didn't really affect that many people. So not many people exiting the race after this, which is great to see. We just see these rest of these guys coming down pit road, and for Logan Williams, who seemed to have gambled on the strategy here, unfortunate to see him having to come down pit road. He's going to have to be towards the rear now. These guys really could have waited until the end, honestly, but yeah, they're going to have to get these fresh tires because they were about to get swallowed up. Looks like we got an issue for the 41. Ricardo Garcia with a blown motor. Bummer.
Well, some may say.
Some may say. So a little bit of a shakeup in the front of the field. Alexander Rowe earned his lap back the hard way. We got a lot of guys that did come down pit road to get crash damage repair. So Viscani, Cologne, Harrison, 46, and the 78 all coming down pit road to get repairs. Ian McDaniel is going to be our leader here on lap 61 of 70. Green flag is back out. We're underway. A little bit of a shakeup up in the front. A lot of these guys really didn't come down pit road, but big stack up from Rowe, who's just going to hold everyone up, and all these guys on the inside are going to try to get that lap back the hard way.
Yeah, Rowe's actually doing a number for everyone else other than himself, really, because all these guys on the inside lane, or outside lane, sorry, are getting held up behind him.
Here comes Greenhouse.
It's the inside lane here who's who's benefiting the most, which for the first couple of 5 or so drivers, like you say, are the lap down guys. But then you've got the Squarius Greenhouse Jr., who's been able to zip himself back up to the lead here now. So Ian McDaniel must be cursing the 37 right now, because he's just gone from the lead to probably outside the top 10 in just a short number of laps here by being stuck in the cook chair behind the 37 here on the outside.
Henry Guo and Quentin Haley were also stuck behind the 37 as well, but it seems like the 6 just cannot get out from behind Alexander Rowe, which is quite unfortunate to see two veterans not playing nice with each other, I suppose. Here's Greenhouse sitting right in front of the 13 of Garrett Lamar, and that's the 83 of Santiago Nicolas. I believe that he is in 3rd place right now. So 1, 2, 3 all within each other right here. We're going to go on board with Garrett Lamar, who has 7 laps to go at Iowa.
Will Garrett Lamar once again be the bridesmaid, or will he be able to get himself his own wedding? Literally speaking, I don't think that's ever going to happen, but at least maybe here at Iowa he can capture himself a W.
He was the winner at North Wilkesboro, was able to lead a fair amount of laps alongside Matthew Fastnaught. They kind of had a back and forth dueling tango there before Christopher Manel took that 2nd spot from Fastnaught. Into the inside goes the 13 with 6 laps to go. Here comes Garrett Lamar to the lead, but let's not speak too fast. We've seen this song and dance before. Garrett Lamar out front, 5 to go at the stripe.
Yeah, got a really nice exit off at 2 there. Was just about able to show enough of the nose to the inside to spook the 52 to not turn in on him. And we see here another wreck down the front stretch. Ian McDaniel crashing out. Maybe that's the CTE speaking, or maybe he's just really pissed off with the 37.
And that has destroyed the front end of Jerry Chen's car, an unfortunate victim in all of that, getting caught up. And that is yet another yellow, where we had a caution-free race here at Iowa last year. This is quite the opposite here today, with Garrett Lamar out front. And let's take a look at this. Oh.
Yeah. Well, the 37 gets high and wide into the outside wall. Almost a carbon copy of the previous incident that involved him and Sean McKean. This time, I guess, Ian was not willing to give him too much space either. Maybe after the annoyances of being stuck up behind him for so many laps. But maybe, like I say, like a cooler head would have prevailed there. And I think Ian's ended off the worst out of all that as a result. So, yeah, real unfortunate. But, yeah, really unfortunate. But it's gonna give us a little blockbuster ending to our race here. So yeah, we will see how that one runs.
Absolutely. We're going to be set up for a green-white checkered, and looks like the 53 just gets plowed into by the other remaining 2 Bones Motorsports cars, and that destroys the front end of Chen's day. So we're going to have a green-white checkered here at Iowa Speedway. Garrett Lamar, Squarius Greenhouse Jr. will start on your front row. As you see, we're going to have 27 drivers. A few of the drivers were wrecked out due to crash damage, but we're going to see 27 of these guys ready to get back going and fire up here for a 2-lap shootout. We last saw a green-white checkered at Watkins Glen. That was exciting, and all the thrills and spills from that. So we'll see if this is able to provide any sort of similar substance towards this at the fastest short track in the world. Iowa proclaims it at. Garrett Lamar, Squarius Greenhouse Jr. They've been the class of the field for the most part, but we still have quite a few people that could be, itching their way into 13. Did make that pass before the yellow came out onto Squarius Greenhouse Jr. So we'll see if the 52 can bounce back, or will Garrett Lamar get things done for the 2nd time, both times happening at a short track. Pace car peels back in. We're 2 by 2 for 2 more laps. Green flag is back out. We're underway once again for the green-white checkered here at Iowa. We're side by side through turn 1 and 2. The 83 gives a little bit of a shove to the 13, and there goes Garrett Lamar down the back straightaway. The field roars. Nobody bouncing off the wall. It seems like we're quite civil. We've had a lot of carnage here today. Pretty abnormal for us to see a pretty clean and green as the 52 starts to slide back. He's going to be side by side with Santiago Nicolas and Kyle maybe just in tow. The 52 now clears them as Garrett Lamar, with 1 lap to go, just under half a mile, coming down the back straightaway as Kyle Maybe's trying to work his way around the 83.
Garrett Lamar, winless in season number 3, is going to round out turn number 4 with his second win of the year. Garrett Lamar comes home and wins at Iowa. An impressive race, a very fun race at that, but we have to give our hands to Garrett Lamar, who's been so close over the past few weekends, finally gets it done once again. Here's a look at that restart. The 13 was pretty even with Disquarius Greenhouse Jr., but just wraps that bottom, wraps the yellow, and the 53 slides up, as we've seen many people do today. And the 13 is going to burn it down. That's what got him the lead, and that's what gets it done for the Seattle Washington driver, who will be competing for his third victory this year at his home track next week at Armory Digital Superspeedway. But for now, the champagne, the celebration, and all that glitz and glamour will be on the CRT driver. Now, both the top 2 drivers in points for CRT, having 2 wins each on the season. They're heads and away, some of the best drivers in the field. But you take a look at these results, and you see just a lot of these guys that have been really, really good this year. Cream is rising to the top, especially through this middle point of the season. Look at that comeback run for Joe Kraus. Got his lap back the hard way and was able to finish 9th here at Iowa as we scroll on through the field. The drivers that did not compete in the green-white checkered, they'll be scored 2 laps down, and so on and so forth. So unfortunate for Blake Walker, Reed Simpson, Kaz Gralla. Kind of ended Kaz's day for the most part there. A little bit of controversy here, I would say, as he was going up against Ian McDaniel.
An incredible overtime with those results. We get to now take a look at our in-season tournament bracket. See the 8 drivers that have advanced to compete at Armory Digital Superspeedway. It's going to be another incredible race here with our in-season tournament bracket. Christopher Marnell was able to advance over Matthew Fastnot, who suffered some late race damage. Marnell able to finish in the top 10. Alexander Rowe versus Santiago Nicolas. A little bit of an upset here, but as you were mentioning earlier, Tommy, Santiago Nicolas not one to really be messed about with. Santiago Nicolas able to take the tournament win over Alexander Rowe. Justin Haley, a little bit of a friendly battle here between him and Visco. Justin Haley is able to take home yet another in-season tournament battle win. And then Anthony Foss, Jeremy Mead, kind of 2 battles of very similarly ranked drivers. Jeremy Mead able to eke that one out over the 69 of Anthony Foss.
Yeah, and then into the other 4 that we see coming through here. Chase Gibbons able to get the teammate rivalry win there over Reed Simpson, although it's a healthy and friendly rivalry at that. Aris Yuko, despite having some small issues himself, was able to get the W against Ethan Harrison, despite also Ethan Harrison leading laps at one stage throughout this race. Kyle Mabey has been very consistent so far this season. He's able to advance through against last year's winner, Michael Guthrie. And finally, Kaz Gralla, unfortunately, has lost out to Ian McDaniel, despite Ian McDaniel's issues there for the final caution. So those are your 8 drivers that will be coming through to the next round.
Yeah, and one could argue that Ian was able to continue after that incident, and Kaz wasn't. So Kaz kind of fell victim to Ian's shenanigans there towards the end of the race. So Kaz could be a little bit upset about that. We'll have to see in the post-race presser.
Yeah, I mean, Kaz has a right to be really pissed at Ian. I mean, anyone who got caught up in that incident, who had their kind of end of their race ruined by it, has a right to. But yeah, in particular, I suppose he would be quite annoyed, as it had implications for his playoff results, or his in-season tournament results, and especially considering it was Ian he was bracketed up against. But I mean, look, it wasn't Ian's kind of desire to have Kaz be caught up in it in that sense, but still, like I said, yeah, there's reason for annoyance.
Absolutely. So we'll it's going to be interesting for sure. We'll see what Kaz has to say about it. Kaz, usually a pretty level-headed person. I would have to imagine that he doesn't have any sort of issue or worry. But as we took a look at the top of the point standings, our top 22, Christopher Burnell able to lead quite handily over Garrett Lamar, even though Lamar took the win. And then they both have quite a big advantage over Kyle Mabey. But then from there, it's a dogfight. Just like we saw last year, the points are ultra competitive and super, super tight. So we could see quite a lot of movement. I mean, once the stranglehold of Marnell and Lamar kind of gets released from Mabey, any one of these guys really have a shot here, but that is all talking about ifs.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened yet. We do still have quite a big lead from Marnell, from Lamar, who also has quite a big lead from Maybe. And then Quinton Haley's kind of put himself a little bit of a gap on Robbie Gordoff, who I would say you got 5th and 6th place there. Robbie Gordoff, Alexander Rowe, 2 guys that are kind of in desperate need of a win, not just to really kickstart their season, but it'll be super, super helpful for them for how many points you get with a win versus 2nd place. And also, Alexander Rowe, your Season 2 champion, and Robbie Gordoff has had the most poles. I think we're nearing most poles in LIMECAR history for Robbie Gordoff. Not just he had most poles in a season last year, has already had a lot this year. So that 33 driver and the 37 driver certainly in search of their first checkered flag this season.
Yeah, like you said, obviously a win is such a huge points advantage over any other position. So like that's what's happened with Garrett. Obviously, Marnell had a pretty sizable lead over everyone. But now with a couple of good results for himself, Garrett's been able to cut away at that down to just about 20 now. So all it takes now is one bad week from Marnell and another consistent week inside the top 10 for Lamar, and maybe we could see a change up at the top. So like you say, even though the likes of your Kyle Maybes and your Quinton Haleys are a little bit further back as of right now, 1 or 2 good weekends for them, 1 or 2 bad weekends from the top 2 CRT guys, and we're right back to square one again. So it's still all to play for at this point in the season.
And looking at a super speedway next week, Armory Digital at that. 42 drivers can go into next weekend at Armory Digital, especially with it being an open race, and say, I have a chance to win at Armory Digital. You can say that at Daytona, you can say that at Talladega, but we saw last year, Richard Fridge get involved in an incident with just about like 10, 15 laps to go. I would say it was closer to 10. And he was able to take his slightly damaged race car, really, and was able to move through the field and take home the win. So I think it was a green-white checkered at that. So anything can happen at Armory Digital. Anything can happen at a super speedway, but especially that 2.6 mile super speedway in Seattle, Washington, that we'll be at next week.
Right, there's definitely going to be a lot of storylines going into that one in terms of can the guys who are up towards the top of the standings hold on to their position, or will we see some guys who are in need of a good result move themselves up the order? And then obviously that's for your overall season standings, but also we will have play-in or playoff implications as well with the in-season tournament, cutting our 8 drivers down to just the final 4 then. That'll obviously be a huge and interesting one in terms of the results from that, because like you say, if anyone has a chance to win the race, then anyone has a chance to beat anyone else in the in-season tournament. Advantages in seeding be damned. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what 4 come out of that for the final spots.
Absolutely. Well, Tommy, it was a pleasure having you in the booth. It was a pleasure having you next to me in the booth. Hope we get to do it again soon.
Amen. It's been an absolute honor. So thank you very much for making it all happen. All the Limeade money is going to good use. So I'm just delighted that I had this experience, and hopefully we get to do it again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Well, to all of you guys watching at home, or hopefully still watching at home, Dominic, I know you are. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next week for Armory Digital, the Elite 8 for the in-season tournament, race number 9, the halfway point in the season. It's going to be a fun one.